Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis here, and I want to talk to you guys about my favorite PvE weapon right now, Gnawing Hunger, and a couple of the perks that I've got on mine, show you an example, and talk a little bit about it. So let's jump in to a gun that I think all of you should potentially be trying to get, because also it's going to be lasting till Season 14, so you'll be able to use it for a while. So here we go. Alright, so you may have heard about Gnawing Hunger and auto rifles being in a pretty good spot. It specifically being a 600 rounds per minute auto rifle means it actually seems to be in the sweet spot for PvP especially. But the main reason I'm talking about this weapon is PvE. Now, I've been using this thing a lot. I actually ended up using it in my solo Prophecy dungeon run. And it honestly hits a really good sweet spot of damage, usability, overall, just really digging the weapon the way it feels. Now, I will give you the giant asterisk caveat, whatever you want. I'm doing this on PC. Console, you may want to focus a little more on things like stability, and that may be something that will help you a little bit more. Mouse and keyboard, you seem to be able to control that a bit more, but controller, stability is one of those things to watch. So perks may be wanted differently, but the main two that I want to perk at, main perks I want to talk about are Subsistence, and then what you pair with it, which I'm either going to talk about Rampage or Swashbuckler. Both are good. Rampage is just what I have on this one. I haven't got a Swashbuckler with this yet, so still waiting to try. But the main reason right now Subsistence is a perk usually I didn't care about before. Most weapons I honestly wouldn't even consider it, but it seemed to just fall with this role, and I started trying it, and I can't take this gun out of my hands. Subsistence works as follows. Kills partially reload the magazine from reserves, but reserve capacity is reduced. Now, the reserve capacity is 428 with this thing with no mods of like auto rifle reserves or anything like that. And generally, you probably don't need primary reserves because you will get white ammo bricks that fall on the ground frequently. And it's not like I'm sitting way in the back with a scout rifle where I'm truly going to run out. If you're moving around a map, kind of progressing through whatever activity you're doing, you're likely to run over white ammo bricks. It's not a big deal. Now, there's a curated role that has overflow right here. Now, the only way to get the curated role, to my understanding, at least by looking online, is you have to do Reckoning Tier 3. It's not the easiest thing to do, not always easy to finish, and you can't always get the weapon to drop. There's certain weapons that drop at certain weeks, I think it is. So, while it is potentially another option, I think this one is one that I actually almost like a little more because, for one, it's a lot easier to get, and two, you can actually depend on it all the time. Now, the reason I'm going to show you that is because I can actually go through an entire lost sector and never have to reload, like almost ever, until I almost get to the boss room, and even Overflow can't do that. Now, the main reason I like Subsistence is because when you get a kill, you reload the magazine. Now, reserves go from like 650 to 428. If you got primary ammo, you're probably going to be fine, but as you kill with an auto rifle, you get 10 bullets back in your magazine every time. So if you're just mowing through a lot of trash ads, which is typically what you're going to pull at your primary for anyway, this works really well. Like, you get 10 bullets back after a Thrall. Then you put 10 actual bullets into Knight, you get some back. Then you keep firing. Acolyte, Thrall. I'm going to show you guys in a Lost Sector how this actually works. So a lot of mid-level enemies, you get your ammo back. And the nice thing is why I'm using it with Rampage, which you could do this with Swashbuckler as well. You continue to stack that damage buff. And as you keep killing enemies, the stack stays there. So you can run through that damage buff the whole time. Then if you have to go attack like a yellow bar or even just an orange bar like a major, you can put a decent amount of damage into them before that rampage goes away, and then you can finish them off with something else. But it's a nice way to put all of those things together. Now, as this is a PvE role, I'm not talking about PvP. I've got Tactical Mag, which is one I like, but anything to give you a little bit of stability, a little bit of reload speed, a little magazine size. Tactical Mag is kind of one of my favorite balances between all three of those. You could do something like Drop Mag, because actually as you're firing with Subsistence, you're really never reloading. So when you get to the point of actually running out of ammo, you're going to reload rather quickly. Now, the only thing about Drop Mag is you lose the reserves if you hit the reload button, but if you're using Subsistence and just continually firing, then when you do actually reload, you're like, oh, I don't lose any bullets, and bonus, I get that reload really fast. The other option, I think, is Flared Magwell is another good one. A couple different reload options there, but again, you're just trying to keep the damage going quickly because you always want to keep that rampage up. So if you do run out of bullets, for example, you want to be able to reload quickly or have some balance of reload and a couple other things. Something like Accurized Rounds is great for PvP. It's going to give you range. It's not going to help too much with stability, but the range for PvP is what something people strive for. I'm not using that right now because this is PvE. Now over here, you got a couple different options. You got arrowhead break. This is going to be big for recoil control, so you have more of a vertical direction of your recoil. But honestly, as this thing has, it's a hidden stat, but it's a fairly vertical recoil. It's got a little bit of a wide spread, but it's still mostly a vertical nature. Even that's not as important. I'm actually running with small bore down here, just a little range, little stability. Now, if you're on console or controller, stability is probably what you're going to want anyway. So little stability here, little stability here, it starts adding up. Now, I got handling here. If I could actually pick a preference here, since I'm on PC, I would probably go range just to give me a little less drop off in, farther activity use. Or if I'm on like controller or console, I'd probably want stability here. Only so much luck I can get, still enjoying the crap out of the weapon. Handling just isn't doing that much for me the way I use this. But overall, you've got 600 RPM auto rifle, decent stability between both. You've got something that as you kill continually reloads the magazine, and on top of that, as I get my kills, I'm getting it more frequently. Now, there are a lot of different perks you can look at. There are websites like light.gg, D2 Gunsmith, and Destiny Item Manager is always a good one, but you can look at a lot of different stats. And if you guys want me to do a video over the websites for Destiny 2, I will happily do that and probably break all of those down, but that'll be a separate video. But the main thing I want to do now is show you what I'm talking about and how this thing functions, so you guys can get an idea why I like it. Now, Rampage or Swashbuckler, both are going to function very, very well. Big thing about Swashbuckler is if you punch an enemy and you get a kill, say like I punch a Thrall, I instantly have that Swashbuckler at ×5, which technically is more damage. And then if I continue to kill enemies, I'm going to be able to maintain that ×5. Depends on where you start. You may not always be that close. You may not be able to go punch something, and it's going to take you a little longer to get to the equivalency of Rampage, but you can get higher with Swashbuckler. So it's kind of a, 6 of one, half dozen of another. Both are good. If you get a Subsistence Swashbuckler, don't throw it away just because it's not Rampage. Still definitely a viable option. So I'm sitting here in the core Terminus Lost Sector. I have 46 bullets. I have no mods on there right now. Now I'm on PC, so remember, recoil is a different thing than console or controller, but I want to show you what it's like that I don't have to reload with how many enemies I can kill. You guys can see I'm still at max ammo. Got this guy in front of me. Now my Rampage is ×3, so things are dying even faster. I have all these Thrall coming at me. They're going to die in like one bullet. The Knight took a little bit, but then I kill a guy right after. Going to kill these guys right here. I still have 28 bullets, and I have yet to reload. 27. I'm in here. I'm going to have just Thrall come at me. They're going to just line up, and I'm just going to sit at capacity of my clip. So here we go. And I have 42 bullets in my magazine. I'm almost full after killing all of those enemies. I'm in here. Now, finally, when you get to the boss room, you'll probably have to mix it up a little bit. But still, the idea is, as these enemies come out, ×1, ×2, ×3. I've got ×3 Rampage. Can come over here, pick these guys off, take these guys out. Still haven't had to reload. And the only thing is you're probably not going to be able to put a ton of damage into the boss with the auto rifle. You'll get some, depending on where your Rampage is stacked. And then I finally got a reload. And the reload's not terrible with what I'm working with. As I said, tactical mag isn't too bad. But you still got enough bullets in the chamber to be able to do most of what you're trying to do. So overall, this one is nice because look. Oh, get a kill. There's 10 more. It's like 6 or 7 maybe. It might not be 10. I could be wrong. It feels like 10 because I'm firing so fast, but it might be a smidge less. But the idea here is I've barely had to reload this weapon but a couple of times. Killed most of the enemies in the entire room. And yeah, you might be running out of reserves, which is why you actually got to go out and get in the mix a little bit. But I went through about 400 bullets without reloading. Oh, and then I can finally turn around, mix it up, and use something else. But the idea that this weapon can do all of this with hardly reloading, lots of damage output, pretty consistent control, and then depending on the perks that you get, you're able to just absolutely cruise through some PvE activities with lots and lots of damage. So let me kill this guy real quick and then I'll wrap this up. Just a little run through of a lost sector, but that's the potential of this weapon. The Subsistence continues to feed bullets directly into your currently usable clip. And if you have Rampage stacked, you just continue to get bullets that do more damage, and it maintains that Rampage stack for much, much longer. Now, if you're really worried about reserves, you could throw like an auto rifle scavenger on there, but honestly, it's not going to be that worth it. If you get low on ammo, just make sure you're in the mix picking up some ammo breaks. So that is currently one weapon I would say everybody should try and farm for. And let me go one more place and show you how you can farm for it very easily. Now, when you get your Umbral focusing and your Prismatic Recaster mostly maxed out, you'll notice you actually have a couple ways to much more easily farm for this weapon than trying to do Reckoning Tier 3. So the Dredge and Focus has 4 weapons. 1 out of 4 chance, still not bad. Now, the nice thing about that is it's not going to cost you the Altered Element. Now, I have a lot of that since I've been playing for a while, but if you're low, maybe you want to conserve a little bit. So every so often, if you're like, hey, if I do one or the other for Umbral Engrams, you still get a chance at every so often. But if you have a decent amount of Altered Element, come down here to the lead-focused Umbral Engram, and you're either going to get Gnawing Hunger or Night Watch. And that's it. You get a 50% chance roll at the weapon you're going for. And if you get to the point where you have the double perks unlocked over here, you're really going to start to acquire a whole bunch of rolls that hopefully will get you a chance at either Subsistence and Rampage, Subsistence and Swashbuckler. And honestly, depending on your console, you may have some preferences over here, but there's a lot of things over here that can work with this weapon. So if you get Subsistence with Rampage or Swashbuckler, definitely give it a shot. And again, don't forget about this lead-focused engram. Now, if you're low on Altered Element, you might have to, you be a bit more sparing with your use and have to roll the dice a bit more on the Dredge and focused one. But if you have the Altered Element, it's a nice way to really narrow that farm and go for that roll pretty quickly. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I know this is not like a specific God roll build, but this is just one I'm thoroughly enjoying and highly recommend as a very good PvE weapon. And remember, this is this season weapon of Season 11, so you'll be able to use it in Season 12, 13, and 14, infusing it all the way up to power level 1360. So it's going to get a good, solid, well, at this point, probably almost 12 months of use. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Go get yourself a Gnawing Hunger. I can't put this thing down. It's kind of my PvE weapon of choice. So hopefully you guys find a good roll and you get to experience it as well. If you guys want to find me on Twitch and Twitter, it's Ebontis on both. Definitely check me out. I'll be streaming a lot of this or Ghost of Tsushima right now. And then on the YouTube channel, we are less than 1,000 subs away from 50K. So if you haven't subbed yet, please hit that sub button. Always have more content coming for you guys. So stay tuned. Hit the alert bell next to the sub button. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like below. Leave a comment, even if it's just to say hello. Thank you very much. Have a good one. I'll see you soon.